So I've been using my custom built Peugeot Boxer camper van for the last 3 years. I've been driving it all around the UK. I've travelled all around France, and there are 7 things I massively regret about the build. Let's have a look at what they are. So if you're thinking of building your own camper van, buying your own motorhome or camper van, or just changing your existing one, then this video is going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money, and probably a lot of hassle. Let's go and have a look. So this is actually the second camper van that I've owned, and it's the first that I've had professionally converted. Now, at the time I built it, we were going through designs, we were going through layouts, we were going through accessories. At that time, I thought this is the perfect camper van. It's got everything, it's the most user-friendly layout. It just ticks all of the boxes, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I was bloody so wrong. See, the thing is, it's only through owning a camper van or a motorhome and using it over sort of a prolonged period that you can actually see like what works, what doesn't work, what you like, what you dislike. And unfortunately, at that point, you're already like 20, 30, 40, maybe even 100K deep into the project. And that's kind of the position we found ourselves in with this custom conversion. So without further ado, here are the 7 things that I really regret about this camper van build. Now, the first regret that we've got lives in here. This, of course, is our shower unit, and in here we keep our toilet. Now, originally when we had the build, we went with one of the Thetford porta potty cubes, I think they were called. Now, that is obviously a chemical toilet. To begin with, we got on with the chemical toilet okay, but after a while, it began to leak. And when I say leak, it was the chemical kind of container section of the toilet that was leaking. And what it was doing was staining our shower board that we've got, which was just annoying. When you've had a brand new van, you want to keep it as pristine as you can, and having that leaking blue green chemical all over the shower tray and the shower block just wasn't ideal. Not only that, if you've emptied a chemical toilet, you'll know that it feels like a bit of a crime against humanity. It's not pleasant, and I'm not saying that there is a solution that is pleasant, but for us, using a chemical toilet just wasn't the answer. The smell of the chemicals was strong enough, filling the whole van. The smell of the toilet filled with everything else was filling the whole van. It was really heavy to drag over the shower unit out the van. It was really inconvenient. So what we ended up with is actually one of the Trellino composting toilets. And if you don't know what a composting toilet is, it basically breaks the liquids and solids into 2 compartments. So the liquids, the wee, fills up in a container which you can empty similar to how you would empty your chemical toilet, and the solids go into what I can describe as like a giant dog poo bag. Now, the reason we opted for this, it does take a bit of getting used to start with, but it's just so convenient in terms of emptying, especially the solids. You can empty it in a regular sort of bin, and you tend to find there are more bins about the place that's suitable for emptying it rather than chemical black waste emptying points. Now, there are pros and cons to chemical toilets versus composting toilets, and the main one for the composting toilet that is a con is the smell of the liquids part. We absolutely hate the smell of it, but there is a little tip. If you use white vinegar, it kind of neutralizes the smell of the wee. So yeah, if you're looking at getting a composting toilet, that would be my top tip. Now, this might look like a very weird camera angle, and it's giving me like a Mr. Potato Head kind of look, but the second regret is to do with this guy. Now, this above me is a Max Air fan. It's a ventilation system that's powered on 12-volt electric, and it will either suck in or blow out. Sounds a bit suspect. Yeah, it's great at keeping the van cool and circulating the air. Now, why we regret having one Max Air fan is the fact that we did only get one. Now, we did have a normal roof vent in the back that was just sort of a catch and opening one, and we massively regret not getting 2 Max Air fans. And the reason being is that we've been away in sort of 30 to 40 degree temperatures in the van, and the heat in here just gets unbearable. When you've got 2 dogs to sort of worry about, to care about, temperature does become an issue. So what we've actually done is we've had a second one installed, and what that means is we can set this one to max, pulling in air, and the one up there sucking out air. And what it does, it creates this crazy vortex system in the van. People that know about engineering and physics and stuff might be able to help me on this one. But yeah, it draws a lot of heat out of the van. Now, if you're in 30 degree plus temperatures, obviously it's not going to create an air conditioned type environment, but it really helps reduce the ambient temperature in the van, especially on a really hot sunny day. And yeah, I just regret not doing that to start with. Now, of course, the ultimate solution to keeping the van cool would be to have an aircon unit. And I have been looking at either the roof mounted ones that would go in place one of these, or the storage ones, which actually look pretty good. So there's a hole that will need cutting into the floor. It will need obviously hooking up to our electrical system. I believe there is an add-on where it will run whilst the van's running, so if you're driving somewhere hot and you've got dogs in the back, you can still keep it cool. Then the rest of the power consumption, you're going to need to be on hookup, but that's definitely a solution. But yeah, if you are thinking about having a Max Air fan in your van, you might as well just spend the extra £200-400 and get the second one installed, because you will definitely not regret that. Now, just before I get into the last 5 regrets, and trust me, you want to stick around right until the end, I've saved the biggest regret until last. I'm going to tell you about something that I don't think you're going to regret getting a copy of, and that's our brand new Camping Conversations card game. Just take a look. This is the Camping Conversation card game. It features over 300 conversation starters, meaningful questions and fun challenges, the perfect addition to your road trip or night around the campfire. It has categories including Would You Rather, Road Trip Reflections, Wildcards and Wanderlust. You'll have loads of laughs, share memories, and you'll make your next trip that little bit more special. They're perfect to keep in your campervan, your car or your motorhome. They're actually great to break up long drives or to cure boredom on a rainy day. So yeah, go and order from No Fuss Travel Guides right now with free tracked UK delivery. Now let's get back into the video, and regret number 3 lies here. Now this is a very aesthetically pleasing round sink bowl, but unfortunately when it comes to usability, washing up and just being a practical sink, it just doesn't do the job. You can forget trying to fit a couple of plates and utensils and whatever else you've been cooking with in here to wash up. It's a nightmare. The water sprays all over the place. And what we should have done is just gone with a square sink that could have quite easily filled this whole section. So yeah, this was a big regret. And if you are looking at getting a sink in your van, definitely go with more of a square or a rectangular shape, unless you can fit a bigger sort of circular one. We also regret not having a sink that kind of drops into the work surface just to clear this space up, but you live and you learn. And talking of not learning, we're going to move on to regret number 4. Now regret number 4 is actually the fridge, and this is a standard 50-litre fridge which most people will have in a camper van or a self-build or even a motorhome. The biggest regret about it is the size of it. 50 litres you think will be suitable. In our use case it's not, and not only is it not big enough, the position of it is just rubbish. Down low here, it's so awkward to access. There's usually a dog here that we'll have to shift and move out the way to get anything out of the fridge. And yeah, if we could have our time again and rebuild this camper van, I would definitely go for like an 80 litre or an 84 litre. And I believe there's a Thetford one that's kind of more rectangular that most modern motorhomes have fitted. They're fitted higher up and they just work so much better. So yeah, this is a pretty big regret, and I would change it in a heartbeat if I could. Now the 5th regret of this camper van build was actually the electrical system. So originally we had I think it was a double AGM battery. I think we had about 210 amp hours. And the problem with that after a couple of years is because it was AGM, and because I'm an absolute idiot and didn't look after the battery, didn't ensure it was topped up during the winter months, just generally didn't give a shit about it, the battery actually died after a couple of years. Now with traditional acid batteries and AGM batteries, there's only so much you can discharge them without affecting the long-term health of the battery. And unfortunately, somebody like me who's lazy and forgetful just didn't look after the batteries. So a big regret on this van build was actually not going with lithium batteries in the first place. Now since I killed the AGM batteries, I've actually gone to a lithium setup. So we're running the lithium Fogstar Drift. I think it's 460 amp hours, and what it allows me to do, because I'm such a geek, a tech nerd, I can actually connect to it via my phone. I can see what the battery health is, how long it's going to take to charge or discharge depending on whether I'm charging it up or not. I can see how many cycles it's been through. I can see the ambient temperature of the battery. And for me, it's just a bit of peace of mind. Not only that, 460 amp hours is great. It means we can be off grid for a good few days. We've got solar on the roof, keeping us topped up. And my form of travel, moving from place to place every 1, 2, 3 days, means that we don't necessarily ever need to be on an electric hookup. So regret number 5, 100%, was not going with lithium batteries in the first place on this camper van build. Now regret number 6, forgive me for looking like I'm in Titanic. Kate Winslet about to be painted by Leonardo DiCaprio. Very strange, I don't know why I've got my hand there. But yeah, it involves this part of the van, and specifically the back doors. Now a regret that I definitely got is not having windows in the back doors. Of course, with a lot of things in the camper van, there's trade-offs, there's pros and cons. The pros of having windows in the back door massively outweigh the cons. The cons for me have been the fact that when we're parked up on an incredible campsite or an incredible park up or a beach or somewhere like that, we just don't have the view from the bed. Like, being in bed looking at views is, for me, one of the best things about having a camper van and doing road trips. So that's the first reason that I'd like to have windows in the back doors. The second reason is for security. I've been on a few dodgy park-ups, a few off-grid park-ups, where I've no idea what's going on around me, and I've got a couple of windows in the side door here. We don't have any windows on this side, and because of the bulkhead being fixed and kept in, can't even see around the front. So having a couple of windows on the back door would just allow me a bit more peace of mind, and I could be a bit of a peeping Tom if there's anything untoward going on in the car park. And by the way, I'm parked up on Cannock Chase in a known dogging spot right now, so I need to hurry up before it gets dark. Otherwise, I'm going to regret not having windows in the back door. Now, of course, if we did put windows on the back door, we're going to be losing some of the thermal properties. It's going to be harder to keep it warm in here and harder to keep it cooler in the sun. And I know all of that, and I know there's things to consider, but for me, it was a regret not having windows on the back door. And yes, I'm sure some people will comment and say, well, why don't you get security cameras fitted around the van? Of course, that's an option. Having a view out the back window would have been a lot better than not. Now, the last and biggest regret I've got with this campervan build is actually the layout of it. Now, when I had this build done, I honestly thought this was the optimal solution. The main thing for us and the main issue that we've got with this layout is the fact that we've left the bulkhead in. We thought it would be great at keeping all the heat out in the summer, all of the warmth in the winter, and yes, it 100% does that, and I can't deny that that is the best solution for the thermal properties. The downside is for us, the layout just does not work. So we've got this storage unit here with cupboards. We've got this nice little neon light, which is purely aesthetic. It's not adding anything. We've got extra work surface on the top here, and that's really all it offers us. Now, what we're actually missing in this van is a proper lounge slash seating area. Now, we have two seats that kind of face each other with a pull-out table, which is next to the bed. Practically speaking, they're not very comfortable for like a prolonged period, and if it's cold, if it's rainy, if we just want to chill in the van for a little bit, this isn't the solution for us. Having owned the van for 3 years now, having traveled the length and breadth of the UK, France, plus other places including Ireland, this layout is just not optimal. It just doesn't work. Don't get me wrong, in terms of space saving, in terms of it being a clever design, there's a section that folds out that can make a third smallish bed, probably good for a kid. Other than that, it just doesn't work. What we actually needed is to take out the bulkhead, to have captain seats in the front on a swivel, probably one of the screw in or fold out tables, a bit more of a seating area that way, move the shower unit back towards the bed like most conventional motorhomes and campervans these days, and do it that way. Of course, like I've said, we'd be losing out in terms of the thermal properties of the bulkhead, but it offers so much more. We'd be able to come through for security reasons. If, for example, we were in bed in a position where we felt unsafe, we could jump straight through to the driver's seat, turn the engine on and pull away. We'd get easy access to the dogs in the back. We'd be able to just cut through nice and easily. And there are obviously ways that you can semi-fix the problem with the heat and the cool coming from the bulkhead. We could get some kind of thermal blinds. We could obviously get some window reflectors and so on and so forth. But yeah, for me, the biggest regret on this campervan build, 100%, is the layout of this van. It's a beautiful van. It's so comfortable. We've got a lot of the things right in here, but the one thing that we've got massively wrong is the layout. And I think we're going to conclude on that. So the key takeaway for me, if you are looking to build your own campervan, if you're looking to have it professionally converted, maybe even looking to buy a coach-built motorhome or a campervan that's already been built, just consider what it is exactly that is most important to you in terms of priorities. Is it having a shower? Is it having a layout that's got some kind of lounge? Is it having a fixed bed? Is it having the bulkhead removed? There's a lot that goes with it, and once you've kind of settled on the layout, I can promise you after a couple of years of using the van, you're probably not going to be agreeing with your original concept, with your original design. And I think that's just the way it goes. That's just the ebb and flow of owning a campervan or a motorhome. It really isn't until you truly get out on the road and test it out that you get to know what works and what doesn't. Having gone through that pain and got to this point, we are weighing up options of whether we get this van tweaked and amended, which could be problematic, costly, and not quite give us what we want, or do we tart up the van, give it a fresh lick of paint in the back and sell it on and look at something new? I'm not really sure at this point. I think we are leaning towards maybe going with a new van, or maybe even a coach-built motorhome, something I've never previously considered. But yeah, I'd be interested to know your thoughts, so let me know in the comments if you are going to design your own van, if you are looking to build your own van, which of these regrets do you most agree with? Let me know in the comments. I'm very interested to see what you guys think. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to go and check out our brand new Camping Conversations card game. It's going to offer you a load of laughs, conversation starters, inside jokes, and it's something you can play on a rainy day in the motorhome, the caravan, the campervan, on a long drive. It's just handy to keep in your glove box. So head over to my website, robbieromes.com, to get that right now. Go find me on Instagram at robbieromes, and I'm going to see you in the next video.